Kanki is the classic cool badass general of Shin's 6th grade generals. Or at least that's the one-dimensional frame that people often incorrectly throw him into. In my opinion, Kanki actually has an argument for the best written character in Kingdom, though sometimes it can be hard to discuss this because his stands are hellbent on pushing him as this one-dimensional menace to society. So it becomes easy to overlook what a uniquely crafted character he actually is, a rare combination of specific extreme characteristics that aren't often seen in fiction, a combination that makes for a character truly like no other. But before we continue, make sure to subscribe for new Kingdom videos every week. To begin with, let's talk about Kanki, the man who wants to change the world for the better. It is obviously not out of the ordinary for a character to have an ambition or a goal to work towards, especially in a series like Kingdom where so many characters are driven by their ambition. But even in Kingdom, Kanki's ambition stands out in a few ways. First of all, it is the fact that his desire is inherently selfless. He's not looking to establish his own kingdom. His goal is to simply bring justice to those that would so obviously ignore the unjust world they live in. He wants to punish those who ignore injustice to the lower class, not necessarily those who cause such injustice, but those in the middle class. He wants to change the way the world works to the point of loathing what essentially makes up the entire world. Kanki's ambition alone makes him a truly captivating character, as he carries such a grand desire. It is not based off an individual passion like desiring an entire nation. Rather, it is a pure individualistic drive to, in Kanki's perfect words, punish those bastards in the middle. The only other person with a somewhat similar selfless dream is Shin, in that becoming the greatest general under the heavens inherently means surpassing all other would-be great generals, ridding the world of future war threats on the way to unifying China. However, a key difference is that for Shin, becoming the greatest general under the heavens is a means to an end. What Shin truly wants is to rid the world of the war-torn childhood he was born into. That is what he views this journey as. And an important distinction is the origin of how that dream came to be. There are some things we can deduce from Shin's backstory as to why he developed this goal. It seems like the glamour of becoming the greatest general under the heavens started with wanting to find a way to live a better life than that of an eternal servant, and was likely then given new meaning through his first-hand experiences with war, relationship with Sei, and conversations with generals like Renpa and Mangoku, as this is where he began to truly understand the importance of a unified China and resolved to keep striving to be the greatest general under the heavens in response. These early experiences seem to be what drove Shin further towards this dream, not necessarily an inherent desire from the start to surpass all other great generals. The Shin that first met Hyo did not already have this desire in mind, and so here Kanki stands out apart further, not just in what his ambition is, a drive to literally change how the world is constructed, but also why he has this ambition. A common misconception is that Kanki wants to change the world because of his relationship with Shio. That's actually not true. The important detail often missed is that Kanki was clearly set on this worldview even before meeting Shio. Here lies the crucial difference, in that it seems Kanki has always felt this strongly about the world simply because that's the way he's always been, fearlessly doing what he wants because that's the way he feels, which says a lot more about his character than if he was simply doing this for the sake of avenging Shio all along. In a lot of manga and anime, we can get really used to this trope of a character wanting to achieve some goal for the sake of another, or some upbringing that sets up their dream. Of course, there's nothing wrong with writing a foundational experience that drives a character's motivations, but it is quite nice to read something fresh, like Kanki's character story, who genuinely is driven to rid the world of any type of injustice with no limit to the extremity of his ways, because that is simply who he is at his core. He is innately driven to change and go against the entire world. We're truly reading the story of a man who always had the personal goal of changing the world and won't accept anything less at any cost, because that's who he is. That's not to say Shio's death wasn't important, it adds new weight to his ambition. Now he has something that almost binds him down so that he never lets go of this ambition, but it doesn't change the fact that he was always innately driven to act this way. It's a perfect way to add depth to Kanki's motivation without impacting who the character is at his core. So just looking at Kanki's ambition and why he has it, we can already see an interesting character concept emerging and blooming beautifully. But what really makes him stand out is how he will really stop at nothing to do what he desires. Kanki's need to follow his ambition and the lengths he'll go to for it is incomparable to anyone else in this series. This can easily be demonstrated by his first defining scene in the story, his encounter with Genpo of the Four Heavenly Kings. I think this is the first scene that truly shows Kanki's unrivaled commitment to his ambition. Before this point, I'm sure Kanki has always felt he could bend the world in any way to serve his own desires as he sees fit. And of course, this scene was so powerful because we got to see just that, a character with such an unmatched resolve and confidence in himself. To us, Kanki may be crazy to reject at least hearing out such a prestigious figure, but to Kanki, he is simply being who he has always been, knowing no one else can affect how he experiences the world. There was such a gap in perspective, almost akin to the sea and sky. It speaks volumes about Kanki's character, that despite not using an inkling of traditional strategy against Genpo of all people, who focuses solely on the perfect strategy, Kanki will always focus on what he wants, in this specific case, taking the general's head and winning by any means. But while this may be one of his first iconic moments we all remember, really the far more defining moment comes near the end of Sanyo, when Kanki feigns kindness to Wei's great general Haku Kisai, only to stab him multiple times in the heart, refusing to let him die peacefully. Kanki could easily stop after a single fatal blow to his heart, but refuses to do so if it means stepping back from what he wants to do, or in other words, following his ambition, even in the slightest. In this moment, we are shown that this character truly possesses a drive like no other, as the dialogue explicitly clarifies this. Kanki wants not just this man, but all to feel the pain they've caused. In his mind, the reciprocal torture is only fair. Think about it. This isn't the same as risking your life for the sake of a dream. There is a clear difference between risking your life for your ambition versus what is life without it. It's this ambition or death, nothing half-assed or in between. For Kanki, his actions simply say that he either completely follows his desires or it's death. There's no in between, and especially no coming back from slaying two of Rinpa's comrades. And so there is no character in Kingdom that has ever pursued their ambition in this relentless manner. Even looking at Shin, while he is obviously happy to put his life on the line to be the greatest general under the heavens, I don't know if I can confidently say that Shin would consider life no longer worth living if he could not be the greatest. If China was unified by Xiao, for instance, would he throw his life away? I don't know if that can be answered. But that is what we saw with Kanki. He would choose death over a life where he could not treat the world exactly as he wanted to the last minute detail. I mean, he went into Northern Xiao knowing they had no information whatsoever against the greatest general China has ever known, just because that is what he wanted to do. It's his world, and to change it his way is the best way, the only way. The reality is that very few characters in fiction possess this all or nothing mentality when it comes to ambitions, often because it's commonly recognized as dangerous. But with Kanki, it's normal. This level of drive is the only way to live if someone really wants to change the world, to view life as meaningless unless everyone can do as they desire, unless life was truly just and fair to all. We get to see over and over again how this mentality fuels Kanki and lies at the heart of his thoughts, no matter the new obstacle. Everything is in the context of his life versus his ambition. Every opponent is an opportunity to grow closer to his ideal world. If he fails and he dies, all that means is that he's simply lost. It's this black and white extreme way of thinking that reflects the strength of his resolve, and naturally makes him such an engaging character to follow. Even when Kanki says everything will be okay no matter how dire the situation is, it makes for such a riveting scene when the character we're witnessing treats it as a do or die or all or nothing. More than any other character in the series, it is through Kanki that Hara is presenting what absolute commitment to an ambition looks like. And that is exactly why it's so unrealistic and exaggerated. So Kanki, a beloved character defined by an individualistic drive to change the world as he sees fit, to better the world, to go so far as to almost act as a martyr of the change that needs to happen in these warring states. A man that would choose death over anything less than his grand ambition. A truly masterfully written character, and wow, he actually did die. It happened. He never changed once during his entire journey, and finally, death came up to his doorstep. Did you enjoy this video? Check out my other videos. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated on my latest videos. I appreciate you guys.